back to the Kosi Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Barcelona are giving up on the race to sign Nico Williams as they feel Arsenal are now in the pole position to sign the player this summer. The question is why? Why are Arsenal given this free ride to Nico Williams by FC Barcelona? We know Nico loves Barca. We know he loves to play with Yamal. But why are we in pole position to sign him? And why has the player already given us the green light to go ahead and do the deal? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. This is the full story of Nico Williams and why Barcelona are giving up. Now, FC Barcelona are one of the biggest clubs in Spain. In fact, if Barca wants your player in Spain, it is highly likely that you will lose that player to them. You will eventually end up selling to them. And it's quite very, very rare in any instance that Barca will want a player and that player doesn't end up joining them until that point where they spent all their money crazily and they had a very, very big fraud scandal. So that is why Barca cannot beat Arsenal on Nico Williams, and that is why Barca have to clear up a lot of room in order to sign Nico Williams. It makes sense why they're giving up. It makes sense why Arsenal are in a better position, in a pole position to sign the player. Now, last summer they tried to do this deal, but it failed. And this summer, they wanted to do it again. They wanted to revisit the situation, but it's not going to be any different. This is the reason. Now, Atletico Bilbao are saying, we have the players release clause at 50 million pounds. That's around, at 50 million euros. That's around 46 million pounds or 45 million pounds. For anyone in their right senses, that is a dream deal. Like, it's a dream deal. Arsenal would love to do that deal. Any club would love to do that deal. But there is a catch and there is a problem. And this problem is the reason that Barcelona have failed to do that deal. The catch is you've got to pay that release clause money at once. So Barcelona have to get 45 million pounds from their already bad financial state and transfer that money directly, all of it, to Atletico Bilbao. They can't afford to do that. Now, what happened in the last summer is that Barca tried to be smart. They tried to negotiate with Bilbao in order for Bilbao to increase the price of the player from 50 million pounds to around 70 million pounds. And the catch was, Barcelona were ready to pay 20 more million or 30 more million as long as that money was going to be spread across like 10 years. Now, Bilbao said, listen, we are not fools. We know that contract amortization is a thing, but it's not a thing that we're willing to die for. It's not a thing that we're willing to do, right, with Nico Williams. So you're either going to pay our money up front or we are going to sell the player to another club. And served by Nico Williams, the player said, I'm going to stay and evaluate my future in the summer. That is how Barcelona kept a little glimpse of hope that maybe we could actually get the player a little bit later on. So why are they giving up now? Barca are giving up now because nothing has changed. Nothing is going to change. Even if they decide to sell, Pedri is 1 billion, Gavi is 1 billion, and many of their most valuable assets are not for sale, right? They have contract release clauses of 1 billion. So you look at players like Ronald Araujo, players like Jules Koundé, those are the players that could actually sell. But how much would they get from those players? I think Jules Koundé, they could get around 60 to 70 million, and maybe Ronald Araujo, 70 to 80 million. Now that money cannot go to covering the expenses to sign Nico Williams alone. That money has to go and cover part of their debt. It has to go to cover part of the losses they have been making. And that is why even if they sold 2-3 players this summer, they would still not be able to afford Nico Williams unless Bilbao bend down and say, okay, you are Barcelona, you are the great Catalonia club, we are going to listen to you and we are going to remove the release clause. So if Barcelona can't afford that release clause. How come that Arsenal can? And I've talked about this before. First and foremost, this club has not spent a single coin of their money on a transfer in the last 2 windows. That is crazy, but that's true. Arsenal signed Mikel Merino with the money we used to bring in. With the money we got from Emil Smith Rowe. Then we signed Ricardo Calafiori. We had sold Edin Nketiah for almost the same amount, right? And then we brought in a new goalkeeper in Raya, but remember Ramsdale had to leave. So it looks like Arsenal literally did like for like replacement. And you look at the prices of these players, they're not astronomical. And Arsenal didn't sell at astronomical prices. Emil Smith Rowe, around 30 million. I think around 25 plus a few add-ons, which would be around 25 million. You look at David Raya, that's the same amount. Edin Nketiah, around 30 million. You think about Calafiori, it's around the same price. So literally, Arsenal last summer sold and bought and spent nothing of their money. So the profit and sustainability rules cannot come out and say, we are catching Arsenal. They've been spending and spending and spending, but not bringing back. That is number one. Number two, the real reason why Barcelona cannot buy Nico Williams is not because they're a broke club. They went through a financial crisis that Arsenal have never gone through. Someone was actively stealing money from FC Barcelona. And Arsenal have had this healthy financial progress for quite a while now. Like, ever since we had that economics professor, Arsene Wenger, work his magic on the club, financially, we have been very, very okay. And I would say that in the world right now, Arsenal is not the most profitable and Arsenal isn't the richest, but Arsenal can afford to sign a 100 million player without looking over their shoulder. That is priceless. That is special, and that is really, really important. But perhaps one other thing that is so important for Arsenal, and why again Nico Williams is an easy buy for us, is you look at our squad. I don't think Arsenal need to go in the market and sign 20 players to rebuild. We are at the end of our rebuild process, because you look at our defense, it is sorted. You look at our goalkeeping department, it is sorted. You look at our midfield, I would add 1 or 2, and then you look at our attack, I would add 2 or 3. So Arsenal just 7 signings away from having a perfect squad, and you can split those 7 signings across 2 summers. With FC Barcelona, everything is going wrong. They need midfielders, they need attackers, and they need some reinforcements in defense as well, and they might need a new goalkeeper too, right? So that it really makes sense why Arsenal would have the money to spend. For example, if Arsenal had a 400 million budget for 3 years, right? Not for 1 year, but for 3 years, we could still afford to sign Nico Williams this year, get another bunch of players next year, and then finish the rebuild the other year. That is why Nico Williams is more likely to join Arsenal. So, convincing the player was not easy. And I think it was the work of Mikel Arteta and a couple of other guys, because this is, for me, this smells like an Edu deal. This deal doesn't smell to me as if it's a deal that Arsenal abruptly did in January. I think it's a deal that has been in the pipeline for quite some time, and then it went like this. Oh shoot, we've agreed. We have the green light to sign Nico Williams. Our groundwork has actually paid off. It's not a deal that happened overnight. So I think this is Mikel Arteta's work. And for me, I've always said with release clauses, if you're willing to pay it, the player is the most important party to talk to, and his club. If they're comfortable moving to London, they're comfortable with your project, the rest is history. See you soon.